distinctive feature.
Lishman's new residence will go virtually unnoticed by passers-by. Glenn Cochrane has the details in tonight's Heartbeat.
The blue camel guarding the driveway at Bill Lishman's property should alert visitors that an unusual experience awaits them. And that's just a start, because this is Bill's new house. It overlooks 100 acres, just beginning to blaze with autumn's colors, and it's completely round. Right now, the interior and exterior walls are each being covered with an 1 1/2 skin of concrete, and when that's done, the entire structure, except for the skylights, will be covered with dirt. An insulation membrane about 3 inches thick will then be put on. Then a layer of rich topsoil will be added so Bill can grow grass on his roof. Vegetables will grow in the solarium that faces southeast to catch the morning sun, and the warmth will be pumped through these portholes to heat the 9-room house, then returned. Another solarium facing northwest will capture the afternoon sun. 3,000 feet of hose are embedded under the cement floors, which will be covered with either carpeting or tiles. A pump will take heat from the earth and send it through the hose, heating the floors. Bill estimates the earth temperature will be about 20 degrees Celsius in the summer and about 16 in winter. He says a roundhouse is the most efficient use of building material, and he gives a second reason for his decision.
If you're building underground, you don't want to feel like you're entrapped in a box, so that the dome shape gives you the feeling that there's a sky above you.
Bill thinks it will cost less than $500 a year to heat his 2,600 round-foot house. It has cost him about $300,000 to build, and no, it doesn't have an underground garage. The house has taken about a year to build, and Bill hopes to move his family into it by Christmas. He's used local labor in the construction, so his underground residence has created an underground economy.
Culture frack. With hostility like that, be thankful at least for free spirits like Father Goose.
It's absolutely marvelous because you're in their element. They fly in such beautiful formation, and they look so great from above. It's awe-inspiring.
The rules are very clear. A wild bird raised in captivity has to be kept in captivity, or 6 months in jail. And Bill Cunningham and eccentrics. The Swans are making a marvelous comeback. Eccentrics, running up against government rules and regulations, seem to be the ones endangered. Take Father Goose, for example. He's an inventor, an artist, a naturalist, and all the way along in trouble with the law.
Yes, you are. You're my buddy. You're my buddy.
More than buddies, Bill Lishman is their dad.
Go.
Come on, guys. He's taught them everything they know. Bill wants to fly with birds. It's been an obsession ever since a flock of ducks swooped in on his tiny plane.
All of a sudden I was in the middle of them, and it was all ducks, and there were ducks around me everywhere, and they were just flying along, and they didn't take off or dive out of the way, and I was flying with these birds, and it was a phenomenal experience.
Let's go, come on.
It's called imprinting. First thing the baby geese see, they figure must be mom or dad, and they'll follow anywhere. But Dad needs wings, and Bill gets those with his $12,000 ultralight, a delicate little plane powered by a snowmobile engine. After 3-4 hours a day over 3 months, they were finally ready. The wonder of it all.
It's absolutely marvelous because you're in their element. They fly in such beautiful formation, and they look so great from above. It's awe-inspiring. You're so free. That's what's beautiful about it. I'm a part of it, but I'm not like one of them.
A man from Boeing came to see. The geese were even booked for air shows.
After about 2 years, the family splits up, and they all go off and start their own families. Only the thing is, I can't let them leave home. I have to keep them because... What? Well, the law states that if you hand-raise animals, birds, migratory birds, that you must not allow them into the wild.
So these glorious animals, you can make Christmas dinner out of them, but you can't set them free?
That's exactly right.
But I don't understand this. You're a pretty free spirit, and these are wild geese. But you mean even in this, there's rules?
There's rules everywhere you look, and places that you never thought.
And here, the rules are very clear. A wild bird raised in captivity has to be kept in captivity, or 6 months in jail. These geese should be penned or their wings clipped, crippled. But Bill says it's no danger. His young geese are imprinted and will always come back with him. And the same with swans. Next, Bill Lishman hatched these magnificent trumpeter swans. They've been brought back from virtual extinction, but somewhere along the line they forgot how to migrate. Enter Father Goose, who'd teach 5 of them to fly south, down to Virginia for the winter.
You want to fly them down. You're going to be the tour guide.
That's the idea, and we just see if that's work. We just want to try the experiment. I thought that this was a wonderful thing, that the imagery of it and everything was something. I mean, it's a world's first. No one's ever flown with birds like this before. In the U.S., it's captured their imagination. It's like, you know, everybody has the dream to fly with the birds, and so I've done it, and everybody thinks it's wonderful, but the Canadian Wildlife Service isn't.
Maybe those
like
guys sitting in the padded chairs in Ottawa are a little bit jealous. Maybe they're jealous of your freedom.
Well, they have their options, too. They can come and fly with me if they like. They could learn to fly in ultralight and fly birds. All you have to do is change the rules a little.
Bill, you see, is used to making up his own rules. He's a sculptor, one who gets up to $300,000 for his works. He skips centuries, at the forge 1 minute, at the computer the next. He may be an eccentric, but he's no crackpot. Some of these sculptures, scattered around his property near Blackstock, Ontario, had been part of the centerpiece of Expo '86 in Vancouver. And this is from an IMAX film which showed at the World's Fair in Japan this past summer. But in these parts north of Oshawa, Bill's triumph is Autohenge, an exact replica of the original built out of wrecked cars for a Chrysler commercial. Bill makes his art pay.
So this you're going to be able to see out the front.
Now he's designing an energy-saving house. It'll be buried in the ground and open to the sky. The rooms will be round. He doesn't like buying clothes, so there's no closets. Fine with wife Paula. She's a weaver, one who grosses $3 million a year.
I want to put, you know, support him in projects like the house. I mean, I need a new house, and this is, why not go this way? It's, you know, very experimental. It'll be a great place to live.
But what happens when you go to some guy, some building inspector sitting behind a desk? He looks at you and says, "You're going to build what?"
Exactly, that's his question, right? And it said, well, that's not a bad idea, but I don't know how you're going to, I mean, what's the 2x4 spacing? And that's not my purpose in life, is building a standard house. My purpose in life is to design something that's going to be better for me and mankind in the future, hopefully.
It finally took an engineer from Skydome to convince the local building inspector. But with the great Swan track, it's not so easy.
What's the objection? I mean, if a guy is crazy enough to fly down to Virginia, trailing some swans behind him, teaching them what Mother Nature taught them, and they forgot.
Well, I've discovered there's all kinds of rules again. There's the Atlantic Flyway Council, where people from all various states and provinces get together and decide where birds should fly.
You're kidding.
Well, I don't understand how they do that, but that's, and so.
But as I understand from the Wildlife Service, I mean, these swans are illegal aliens. You brought these eggs in illegally.
Well, as far as I was concerned, I brought them in with all the paperwork that was required by Canadian law. I phoned Agriculture Canada. I got all the requirements. I spent a lot of time in the U.S. and energy getting a health certificate that they came from a healthy flock of birds, and that was all required. I handed that at the border when I came through, and nobody said anything. That was fine, and I thought I'd done everything right.
There's also an argument, these are tame birds. If they're released into the wild, they could give disease to wild birds.
Well, we were talking about 5 birds that were going to be so closely monitored that they would be absolutely healthy. I mean, if worse came to worse, one was really radical and took off on us, you can always find them, and yeah, if you had to shoot it, fine, shoot it, you know.
Why don't you just do it? Let them catch you. Let them send an F-18 up to bring you down.
Well, the problem is that they don't need to bring an F-18. They come in and grab the birds.
Thursday, July 5th, 7:30 a.m. The target, alien swans. In a daring daylight raid, wildlife officers moved in. The swans offered no resistance, but Lishman and his accomplice were argumentative. The ringleader's son was armed with a home video camera.
They went to 4 different places concurrently. It was like, you know, if we're going to stage a raid on all these dope dealers, you know, we're the Medellin Swan cartel and going to grab these guys.
Yeah, but where are you taking them to a facility?
Incarceration facility would remain a secret.
They don't tell you nothing, do they? You won't give us a thing? No, I can't.
There you go, guys. Good job. You got the names to board. Okay, guys. Thanks a lot.
A chase ensued.
I drove about 100 miles following my son and I, and they tried to lose us a couple of places, and, which didn't work, and it was crazy.
Law enforcement triumphed, and the alien swans were deported back to where the eggs were laid.
When you think about it, you know, if somebody has a job, and they said, our job is making up rules, so they keep making up rules, and then they have to have more people to enforce the rules. So, you know, it has to, I don't know how you level that off. It's gone too far, definitely.
Strange talk from a former NDP candidate who had no gripe against government until he ran up against it.
You think of the Canada Wildlife Service as wanting to further the cause of birds, and that's what we thought we were doing, and then all of a sudden...
Isn't that everybody's dream, to fly with birds in the wild?
It's everybody's dream, but it's not the rules. So I have found out.
These geese will learn the hard way, too. They've been ordered into the pen, locked up, life sentences for flying free. And that's not all. Now the Department of Transport is after Bill Lishman on his pilot's license. You see, he's a little bit colorblind, and if he had to land at Toronto International, he could mix up the lights.